He looked gone. He looked totally and utterly finished in the game.
Playing through serious pain in that.
So we created that night the phrase, "It's just pain."
I don't think we'll see a goal like it again. It's still crazy to think about now.
It's so big that you have a breakdown. And that was in that moment. I cannot watch that until today without crying.
There wasn't a lot said because we were both crying quite a bit.
I had to hold the tears back at certain points.
A night I will never forget in my life.
To give a special trophy to a special guy at a special football club it doesn't get much better, does it?
I mean, he'd always speak to me in terms of just little words here and there of encouragement and just making sure I was on the right path and that. But I wouldn't say early doors we had the relationship where it was where it's at like now. The specific point where we created the bomb was at the World Cup. That was when it clicked for us. I mean, it was the first time I'd been with the England first team, so I didn't know anyone. I'd never really played with any of them. It wasn't as if I had anyone else there. It was just me and Hendo. And
they were obviously coming off the back of the Champions League final, so they arrived into the camp together. They had some of their early training sessions were just the two of them, so they were spending that time. The others had a day off, and they were physically doing some work.
Even up until then, we hadn't had banter or anything. It was more of a serious relationship of him talking me through games and talking to me about how things are going and stuff like that. Not really banter, because he's quite a serious person, really, on the outside, that you can see he's serious, he's set in his ways, and he likes to get things done how he wants them done, and he has his routines. But I mean, once you get close to him and you understand him, then he's someone that has got a bit of banter about him.
With Trent's development, I think Hendo showing him the right path, and Trent's intelligent enough to see the right sort of characters to follow. You know, he's got that professionalism. He wants to improve. He wants to learn, and definitely their relationship is a really strong one.
We'd spend a lot of spare time together, because you train once a day and then you're back in the hotel for the rest of the day, and we'd pre-arrange what time we'd be going down and stuff like that for food and all things like that. We'd watch games together, and we'd play loads of table tennis together. Yeah, they were just the first times that we really had banter and stuff like that, and we grew a bit closer to each other.
It's Hendo's birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday,
I want to blow them out.
Jordan.
If you're going to do it properly.
Okay. No, we couldn't light it because it was so
right,
that's the only reason he gets away with it.
Thanks, mate.
Trent, mate.
You're older.
Thank you.
Yeah, wow.
Cheers, mate, Trent.
You know, one of the things Hendo is great at with a young player, there's messages as managers you don't have to give players. So when you see Hendo or Harry Kane training in the gym before a training session or working on their fitness, as a coach or a manager, you don't have to say anything. The other players are watching them. They're influential members of the squad, and the standards they set go through the whole club. And I get the feeling that at your club, Hendo, James Milner, those types of characters are so important for what happens day to day on the training pitch, whether people are at training on time, what their professionalism is. So they've got brilliant role models there, and that becomes the culture of your club.
Jordan Henderson goes to the World Cup. He's one of the standout players, but you're left with a massive sort of heart and mouth moment where
steps up in the penalty shootout and doesn't score.
I couldn't watch it. I couldn't. I just listened. I closed my eyes and put my head in my hands. It was the comedy, and devastated for him.
Yes! England are World Cup quarter-finalists again.
Yeah, one of the biggest things I was pleased about, there was, of course, for all of us, that moment where we get over the line in a shootout. But he wouldn't have deserved to be the person that had one saved that cost us the game. I mean, he's actually, in no way was it a disastrous technical penalty. His sense of relief after was enormous, and I was pleased, for him on a personal level, that he didn't have to go through that.
Perisic, Mandzukic, and Croatia, for the first time ever, will play in a World Cup final.
I think they just ran out of energy. It's a long tournament, and I think they were again unlucky if they'd taken their chances that game.
The sort of sense of deflation and the realisation that we'd been so close, but it hadn't finished as we wanted. It was a very quiet, silent dressing room. Really, I said a few things to the players, but I knew we still had a couple of days together because we had the third, fourth playoff, and then after that, we all had a bloody good drink together, frankly, to make sure, because you never get that group of people together again.
I think they had a good tournament. It's, I didn't go to the 2014 World Cup in Brazil because I was ill. I was just pleased to get there. Thoroughly enjoyed the stay. Russia was buzzing. The place was buzzing. Thoroughly enjoyed it, yeah. And I'm sure he did. They didn't disgrace themselves. But who knows, they could go on to the next 2 years. You never know.
I think he's had a brilliant England career. You think of the caps he's had. He was up for the captaincy with Harry Kane. He could have easily got that.
The way Henderson dealt with the fact that it was Kane, how supportive he was, and how he is still a leader without needing the armband, speaks volumes about Henderson.
But no, it didn't really bother him at all. I asked him about it, and he went, well, it's not my decision, Dad. He speaks very highly of Harry, and he's like, he deserves it. And I'm like, but so do you.
No, it wouldn't be fair to say I didn't think he would care or he wouldn't be disappointed. That's a huge thing. And every time he wears the armband, I know how proud he will be to do that. I have huge respect for him as a human being. Of course, he would have liked to be the England captain, and he has all of the qualities to do that. And we took a decision at that time that I did have a conversation with him. I explained the route I was going and the reasons why. He accepted that brilliantly.
I think he'd love to be captain of his country. I think he is captain of his country without the armband. I think he's a massive leadership figure.
I think he would have liked to have been the captain, and he still relishes those moments when he is. But he's mature enough and unselfish enough that he gives everything whenever he steps on the pitch. He doesn't change in terms of the level of motivation. If you put a five-a-side out there now with nobody watching, with Hendo you'd get the same level of performance and the same level of commitment, and that's why he's achieved what he's achieved in the game.
Liverpool have announced the signing of Fabinho from Monaco. There was nothing at all, no rumours, and now Liverpool have completed the signing of Fabinho.
Liverpool have gone out and bought a specialist. They've gone out and bought someone specifically for that number 6 role. So it puts Jordan Henderson's career and his Liverpool role under doubt, but certainly under question.
When Fabinho is brought in to play that role, he still leaves Jordan in the position to allow Fabinho to acclimatise. And Fabinho always says he appreciates so much that he had Henderson there filling in that role while he was able to settle. I think when he was the 6, what he offered was playing the position exactly as how Klopp wanted it to be played, despite not being a specialist in it.
So when I arrived here, what I thought about Hendo is a box-to-box player, so I never thought I will use him as a 6 or whatever.
I know he definitely sees himself as an 8 rather than a 6.
It's always about the team, and if he's got to fit in as a 6, then he has to. But he'd rather play probably as an 8.
If you think of Jordan Henderson, you just think right-sided, central midfield in a 3, you just think of him at his best in that position.
There's a great story where in the build-up to the Southampton game, Fabinho's back from injury and Jordan Henderson goes and knocks on Jurgen's door and basically says, like, boss, don't forget I'm a number 8.
Yeah, I think that's literally what happened. I think he knocked on the gaffer's door and said, I want to play further forward like I used to. And
Hendo is a smart guy, yeah? So I'm pretty sure he came in because Fabinho got fit again. So Fabinho got fit again, and then he came out and said, but Fabinho's coming back, and I know he's really good in that position. I only want to remind you, boss, I'm actually an 8. And I said, I know. That's nothing new to me. But yeah, it's true. But it wasn't a time when Fab came back anyway. So, and then it was pretty clear that Hendo will anyway move.
He did say that he felt certain things about different positions in that, but he could discuss it with the gaffer.
Scored a goal at Southampton. I'll never forget that goal. You know, the frustration on his face. I
mean, I got ragged at 60 that game. So it doesn't hold the fondest memories, but it was yeah, it was good to see Hendo scoring.
And then suddenly he becomes a number 8 again, who's sort of rampaging across the pitch.
Henderson adds so much tempo and impetus to the side. I think it's best seen at 8.
I'm pretty sure Hendo improved on 8 after he played the 6. I think.
Now, you know, for me, he's a complete midfielder. You were play him in any of the roles, and I think he would be very effective in either of those roles.
He brings a lot of attributes to the team. He's strong, he's powerful, a lot of running without the ball that goes unnoticed. He presses really well, he can regain the ball. He uses it very intelligently. I think his passing range has come on leaps and bounds over the years. And he's now the finished article in terms of being that all-round midfielder.
It's so mad the way that people talk about him, because people talk about all of his physical attributes, but it's actually quite rare that people really talk about what a talented footballer he actually is.
Yeah, definitely, and but he underrates it as well. So that's the fun part of it. He identifies himself over the things people identify him to, like the runner, the high energy guy, bam, bam, bam. He's brilliant in small spaces. He's absolutely brilliant footballer. So that's why we play him in such decisive positions like 6 and other things, because he can do it.
I don't know, I hope he doesn't take it the wrong way, but when I first went and trained with him, like, he blew me away how good he was technically. And I was kind of like, whoa, I didn't realise he could play like that, or he could do that. He's technically one of the best players that I've played with, to be honest with you. Just always crisp passing. His touch is always neat, tidy. And he's got an unbelievable technique, like a cross, a pass. He can pick up passes. Yeah, he's a really talented player.
He's both-footed, he can shoot, he can pass. He's really quick. Very dynamic, so that's all really helpful. He's a top-class player, no doubt about that. What people think about it, I don't know exactly, but I know that Hendo thinks a little bit the same about himself, but it's more a problem to me than what the people think, to be honest.
There's certain parts of his game that he's worked on extremely hard and have improved immensely. And I think now you describe Jordan Henderson as the all-round package in terms of being a midfielder. I think he's missed when he's not there, and I think that's the biggest compliment for any player. You know, when you're out the team, or there's a period of time when you're not there, you can really see it clearly that the engine room misses Jordan Henderson, both for club and country. So he's a wonderful footballer.
It was a bad situation to be in.
I was deflated. I remember coming back from Barcelona. Liverpool played so well, and to lose 3-0, he got well and truly messied, really. You know, it felt like the season was just coming to an end.
It was weird, because we were in contention for both of them. For me, there was always a positive. So when we'd been beat 3-0 by Barca, it was kind of like, we'll just focus on the league now anyway. Leicester are going to beat them. Kind of that kind of mentality. And then, so there was always the other one to focus on.
The final week and a day or two of the season were just, it's mind-blowing what we kind of had to go through. On the back of the season, we got foot to the floor for the entire season, and City just not giving us any quarter at all. We get the late goal from Divock Origi at Newcastle to keep us in it, and then you've got Man City, Leicester, and you're thinking, this is it now. Leicester's the biggest shot we've got. It looks like we're going out of the Champions League at this point, having been battered in Barcelona. And then Vincent Kompany steps up and smacks in a once-in-a-lifetime worldie.
Kompany perhaps will have a shot here. He has a dig! And how about that? And it's an absolute thunderbolt from Vincent Kompany.
You know, Kompany has to go and score that goal, which is just when is that ever going to happen again?
If I recall correctly, I don't think Hendo would have watched that game, the City-Leicester game. He's the type to not watch it because of just not feeling like he needs to and doesn't want to be distracted. So that's the type of person he is that he's focused on the game rather than what's going on elsewhere.
Feels like what we're about to have is what could have been the greatest Liverpool season of all time. Looks like it's going to end in absolute heartbreak and disappointment.
To get through a season like that and have so many incredible moments, and then to fall so agonisingly short, especially when, going into the new year, there was a pretty healthy lead, and and the only defeat coming by such a ridiculously narrow margin at the Etihad with that goal line clearance from John Stones.
The 2018-19 title race is probably the highest quality title race in Premier League history. Now, obviously, there are great moments that end season. You can't look beyond the Aguero moment as one of the standout ones. But in terms of two teams going at a pace that had never been seen before, neck and neck, pushing each other on, driving each other on, it was a title race for the ages.
For some, it's a way to stomach that any other season Liverpool would have won it. But I think that sometimes can hurt even more, knowing that it would have always been good enough, just not now.
Tough. It's really tough to take, to be honest. Yeah, it felt like the last 8 to 9 games that season, we both won every game. We were just doing it not luckily, but last minute winners and things like that. It just felt like this is meant to be, and they're gonna slip up and we'll nick in the last minute. And
there was maybe a sense of, gosh, we have done nearly everything that was in our power to do, and we're not going to win the title. And then immediately James Milner, Jordan and Lallana were like, nope, no feeling sorry for ourselves, big game, anything is possible, we've done it before, it's Anfield. So quickly the narrative started to shift.
After the Leicester game, it was kind of well, we have to do it now, otherwise we can't have this good of a season. You can't have a sick run like we've had in the league. We can't be the team we are without winning anything. It's the season was too good to not win something. So yeah, I think that was kind of the motivation as well. No matter what, we knew it was going to be a good game. So whether we were able to turn it around, which I don't think many people would say that they fully believed in before the game, we all knew that it was just going to be a good game. It's a home game against Barca in the Champions League semis. You still got to be up for it. It's one of the best games you can play in. So everyone was properly up for it, and you could see that with the fans and that, yeah.
Obviously, the managers painting up that game, telling everyone, remember the best game you've ever played. Well, you've got to play that plus some now. So it felt like we've got nothing to lose and we deserve to win, so let's just give it a go.
But I do remember going in the ground and thinking, you know, I just hope they put up a good performance here and the game doesn't sort of get away from them quickly. But I do remember thinking if they can take a lead into half time, if it's 1-0 at half time, you just never know with Liverpool, you never know with the atmosphere at Anfield, because 1-0 can easily become 2-0, and if it becomes 2-0, you know they're going to get a third.
Liverpool were chasing the impossible that night. No Mo Salah, no Bobby Firmino. It was a makeshift Liverpool team against the odds. You need to go and set the tone, and Jordan Henderson just grabbed that game by the scruff of the neck, strode into the box, and he's so close to getting the opening goal himself, but he does what's needed, and then Divock sticks it away. Pandemonium.
What a game that was, not only of him, but of him as well. So the desire around the first goal already, going in there, the celebration, getting the ball and stuff like this, these kind of things, I will never forget in my life. Hendo, not directly, no, with 2 touches, goes in this area, finish the situation off, force Ter Stegen to a great save, and Div is where Div had to be in this moment and finish the situation off. Great goal, game changer, or game on in that moment. Absolutely fantastic.
As you're playing, you're kind of a fan, so like your body like jumps as like he's hitting it and stuff. You like go on, and then when he misses, you're like oh, and then obviously you see Div whacking in, but he's done very well to like get it out of his feet and get the shot off as quickly as he did. Yeah, it was good from Hendo, to be fair.
And Jordan Henderson, I think in that first half, he gave the crowd that belief that they weren't, you know, the team wasn't dead. He got injured against Barcelona. It looked like his game was gone. You know, his game was done. He couldn't get up, needed injections at half time, and he was like, remember, it was like the Undertaker in WWF getting up, like, no, I'm going to carry on and fight this. And absolutely amazing performance from him and the rest of the team. He set the tone that night.
I saw both situations in the first half. So the one was Hendo, the knock on his knee, and the other one was I saw Robbo limping away when Suarez hit him. So and then you go in half time and you think, okay, let's have a look. So Robbo was pretty quick, clear, will not go on. In that moment, Hendo was already on the bike. So, and how is it? Oh, it's painful. It's pain. So we created that night the phrase, it's just pain. So, very famous phrase in the dressing room. So, yes, it hurts like hell, but it's just pain. We can go on.
Playing through serious pain and that, because I think you see at the end of the game when he falls down and like he's celebrating a bit, but you see him grab his knee, and it's like you can tell he played through some serious pain there.
He looked gone. He looked totally and utterly finished in the game. I don't know how he managed to continue.
Just typical Jordan Henderson, wasn't it? He said to them, no, just do whatever it takes to get me back out there, whether it's a painkiller injection. I think he had tablets as well. Just get me out there, because he sensed that was game on. You know, there was something historic to be achieved, and there was no way he was going to allow that to happen without him. I don't think it probably would have happened without him, because Liverpool needed his sheer force of personality that night.
I think a lot of players wouldn't have been able to play on with that.
For me, that was just a gladiator performance. I think, you know, I love TV shows, films, and if that was a film, he would be like the gladiator, wouldn't he, at the end? Injured, bruised, torn to pieces, but he ends up winning with like the dagger to the heart. So I just see it as a film. He was just absolute machine that game, yeah. And like I said, the whole team performed incredibly well that night, but yeah, to have injections, to be playing injured. But I'm sure, you know, when the goals were flying in, he didn't feel a bit of pain.
On the roll, lads, come on! Yes!
I mean, I had a decent view of it, to be fair, and I don't know, it was just like it went slow motion. It was like you see Ginny like rise. That's the moment. It's not like it wasn't really the corner that was the moment. That was the moment. There was no way we weren't gonna win that game. We had them. So that was the moment that like I just knew, and that it was basically done. I just feel like it was just meant to be. I don't know what it was, but if this everything about the goal was like, I don't think we'll see a goal like it again because it was too like perfect. If you can, I don't know how to describe it. It was just right. It just from even like Dave knocking the other ball off the pitch so that the corner could come in and things like that, and the ball boy putting it on the spot. I wasn't even meant to take the corner. I was literally walking away to like go and get into position, and then just seeing it. I mean, I didn't even shout, Dave. I've just hit it in there at him. If he doesn't turn around, it's just a waste of ball that flies across the box, and no one even thinks about it again. If that doesn't come off, then Verge is absolutely going at me because I haven't stuck one in there for him. But mate, just. Even the finish itself is unbelievable. Like, how can you get at that par on the top pin? I don't even know. Yeah, it's still crazy to think about now.
The most unbelievable night of football that I think I've ever seen at Anfield.
The Barcelona game, when Hendo goes down and we have to, I think Joe Gomez picks him up and all these kind of things. So everybody's was always a breakdown. Like the relief was that big, that's just a breakdown. You keep quite putting pressure on us. So like how big it is, how important it is, how much it means. So in these moments, it's just, you cannot run around and smile like the widest smile in your life. It's so big that you have a breakdown. And that was in that moment.
That is the epitome of someone that has given every single last drop they had in them for the shirt. And yeah, he was rewarded with, quite rightly being given all the plaudits after one of the most incredible nights in Liverpool's entire history.
He was relentless. From conditioning the squad to, okay, we're not feeling sorry for ourselves. We've got to go and we've got to give it everything and we've got to be bang on from the first whistle, and then leading that with his performance and ensuring everybody was giving it their maximum.
That was the night for me when I thought, if anybody's got any doubt about him as captain, they need the head testing because he was just incredible.
Unreal, to be honest. We have a picture, we have a massive, I don't even know how big it is, but it's huge. Of like from behind, you see us all like linked together singing, and then you see in the corner Hendo doing an interview. And it's just like, how can you choose someone to do an interview at that moment? Like, you can't begrudge someone of that special moment because of an interview. It can wait 5 minutes. And yeah, unreal. But he's the celebrations were just as good as the game, to be honest with you. Just very, very special.
I'll never ever forget, if I show you this match here, which was this is the Champions League game, right? We went to watch that game, and at the start of that game, the Champions League music. So the music comes on and then comes on at the end, and we were going out the stadium, and Jordan said to us, "I'll play in one of them one year. Guaranteed, Dad, I will walk out to that music."
Yeah, it felt a lot different. I mean, you get prepared for it. Even like the build up to it, we were just so much more relaxed and just treated it as a normal game rather than the Champions League final. And we were way more prepared for it. I think you could tell that through the performance.
I was invited over by Liverpool. I had the decision to work the game through BT or whether I should go as a supporter with the invite from Liverpool. It was the best thing I ever done. I could really enjoy the game, and to see Jordan and the lads lift the European Cup, number 6, was a real proud moment for me. It was obviously a huge night for the club.
I just knew they were going to win. I just knew it was meant to be.
I mean, it was a boring game, and as a neutral, I would have hated to watch it, but they got the job done, and it was that's all that matters. That's all that matters.
From that game, said to us, "I'll play in one of them one day, Dad." Not only did he play in 2, he won 1. So.
You see Jurgen Klopp, and look, I was so lost in my own sort of celebrations, and you'd be celebrating with the people around you. You look down the pitch and realise you've got this gang of incredible humans all going through a lot of very human things on the pitch as well. Klopp's going round, greeting everyone, consoling, cheering, celebrating with people, and then him and Jordan meet.
Rob was in between, yeah, true. Yeah, I really hope I hugged everybody that night. I'm not sure, but I hope. Look, most of the time we are really asking for our professionalism. So that just show you're professional. So don't go out, don't drink, blah, blah, blah. Be always in training, train hard and all these kind of things. But that's all right. But we are human beings as well. And winning the Champions League for a person who dreams of that for the whole life, we knew how much it means to us. We knew it. And it's like connecting 2 guys standing there and can't believe that it actually happened, finally.
And I remember at the end of the game, it's quite a memorable moment for me, but it became quite an iconic little video of when I get down to the pitch afterwards.
The most touching moment that night was obviously when Hendo saw his father. That was absolutely great. I cannot watch that until today without crying. So that's just not possible. Because of the story around as well, really, really special.
I was with Dave Lallana before the match, and I said to Dave, I'm going to have a little recce around the lounge area to see if there's any doors that go out and down. I want to be on the pitch because I said I'm sure they're going to win. I was 100% sure they were going to win. Just before kick-off, Trent's dad came over and he went, I think we might have found a way down at full time. And I'm like, right, okay, well, give us a shout. So when the final whistle went, all the wives and some of the parents all rushed down the stand because there was a concrete wall and you were hemmed in. But the closest you could get to the players was about 30 foot up, but the players could see you. So because of what Trent's dad had said, I didn't run down. Trent's dad shouted at us and they went the other way. So I'm looking and they're all going off. So I runs up and I catches Trent's dad up and I went, so what's happening? We had to go out a door, out of the stadium, then we had to follow the road down where the bus had gone into the stadium itself. We were like up some stairs, through some offices, down, through some toilets. Honestly, it was unbelievable. It ended up, I don't know how we got there, but we eventually gets to the underground car park where the buses were for the players. So we walked down the road and there's a barrier. So there's a security guard on. So now we can actually see the pitch. It's about 10 meters away. So this guy in Spanish says, not allowed in. So this guy from, as we thought was from FIFA, showed his FIFA badge and said, no, familia, they have to be in now. And so when he lifted the barrier, And in we went. All of the rest, when we looked up, were on the balcony. So we're now at the rope side and we're on the pitch. And I'm thinking, do I run on? And then there's loads of security there. And I'm thinking, no, we'll get stopped. So at that stage, Adam Lallana's walking towards the rope area, looking up for his dad. And I shouted, Adam! And Adam came over. And him and Jordan, as you know, are quite close. I said, do us a favour, go and tell the boy I'm here. So he ran over, and that's when Jordan walked over, and then the rest is history, as they say.
You know what, I just think it's inspiring for anyone, football fan or not. I try and use a lot of football analogies just in my everyday life. And I think that for anyone who watched it, you can't take nothing away from him.
I mean, obviously you're delighted for the team, but I was delighted for him that night. I think everybody was, weren't they? Because you could tell what it meant to him and his family. So to be able to have him watching the game, being pitch-side while his sons won the European Cup, it's just like incredible.
I said to him, I knew you were going to do it. And I think it was just relief for him at the end of that. There wasn't a lot said because we were both crying quite a bit. So what a lot of people don't realise, I think it was documented about how I'd been ill. It wasn't about that at all. Although it might have been a little bit with Jordan, but that particular year, I'd had a horrendous year with bereavement in the family. So that's what it was about, probably more than how ill I'd been.
Having known Brian like I do, I still go and see him now. Obviously knowing what Brian and the family have gone through. Sometimes you always say moments like that should be hidden away from the camera because they're personal. And you don't get to see them, but you get told about them. And when you get told about them, you imagine what that feeling was like. You imagine what it must have been like for Jordan and his dad, and you imagine how he must have felt. When you know what happened, when you know what Jordan's been through, and you see that moment there where they had that cuddle and the emotion between them was actually a humbling moment for all dads, families, mums, parents, carers, whatever you want, to show to somebody how much a relationship can be when you work at it. And it was lovely to see it and it be televised, because I think it was a real moment, if I'm honest.
In Madrid, when he lifts the trophy, so many people at the club have said it made them so emotional to see him do it because he deserved it, like, more than anybody.
My release was the fact that for the first 4 or 5 years of Jordan's career at Liverpool was really hard for him. It took a while for the fans to get there with him, but he dug in and he stuck in like he always does. And I was just so pleased for him and the fan base, because I felt then they could connect with him. So that was my pleasure, seeing my son lift the trophy that I thought he would have lifted the year before, and lifting the trophy that he promised me that he would play in one time. So it was surreal when you think back to what he actually said.
You know, he knew full well, the very short list of iconic names, Liverpool captains who have done that walk and lifted that trophy. And then suddenly, on that amazing night in Madrid, he's able to say, well, his name will now sit alongside, those forevermore, and that is the ultimate, I think, for a Liverpool captain.
And I honestly think it's only post Madrid that there is now a sense of Jordan Henderson, how lucky Liverpool are to have him as their captain, as a starting midfielder.
It took a long time, to maybe him to get what he wanted, but at the end he got it, and he should be an example for many people, because he never gave up.
When he lifted that trophy for his teammates and for the people of Liverpool and the global fan base that all jumped up and all to this day do the Jordan Henderson shuffle. Whenever I see the Jordan Henderson shuffle here in California, when an under-8s team that has a dad who's a Liverpool fan, they've taught them how to lift the trophy with the Jordan shuffle. I see it all over the place.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, obviously it started in Madrid. like if you're gonna lift the biggest trophy there is, at least make it a little bit iconic. Don't just do like a boring lift. You've got to do something with it. He's just thought of it in his head, and it's unbelievable, and it's stuck now. He's stuck with it. The Hendo shuffle.
By the way, if he's got a choreographer, I would sack him. No, for me, just give us a trophy.
I didn't think it was that big of a deal to me. I'm just in ecstasy, really. I'm just like enjoying every moment, and I just can't wait to like start celebrating properly. And then he's like, I didn't think anyone would clock it. I think it got to like the next day after everything had settled down, like got on the plane back, and then I think that's when like people started to ask him about it, and he's like, yeah, I just done it.
To be in that position must be a great feeling. You know, when you've got the fans cheering for you every week, and for you to be one of the people that stand there and lift that trophy for them.
I was more happy for Jordan Henderson than anybody else. I think when you know how much somebody does off the pitch, how much they help not just their teammates but staff, how highly they're thought of, what kind of person they are, you root for them in ways that go beyond like the scope of the job, not even the scope of a fan. You just root for this human, you know.
The journey that he's been on, like the turmoil that he's been through and as a player has been unreal, and I think he could have folded and not being the player he is today, but the strength he's got mentally to play through things and to turn people on his side through his performances and his intensity is unbelievable, and it's inspiring to see him on a daily basis, to be honest with you. Just seeing how much he's committed to the game and how much he wants to improve and get better and help the team, and how he puts the team first is really unbelievable to see every day.
Winning that European Cup basically told us, the fans, it told the players, it told world football that this Liverpool team is the real deal. What they needed to do was they needed to convert European success into domestic success, and we haven't seen that. You know, you think about Liverpool teams that have done well on the European scene, go back to the treble winning side, 2001, Istanbul, 2005, no one was able to get them over the line, but there was a real feeling that this was going to be the team, the manager, the players, the captain, who could turn that 1 point gap and even if it was just flipping it, just make it go the other way, just do whatever it takes to get across the line. We had faith, but we had faith a lot of times before. It was going to take something special. Liverpool are flying in the league, flying. And I think we'd all had those private conversations where like, it's done. You know, we take it back. I'll be honest, I was saying it behind closed doors, it was done after we beat Man City at Anfield, but the further it goes, you're going, if we just win this game, then I'll believe. But look, we're fans. The message coming out of the dressing room from Jurgen Klopp and from Jordan Henderson is no. We're not having those conversations. We're not entertaining that it's done until it's done.
I always remember Hendo talking about, like, because everyone else gets excited. It's really just Hendo and Millie that don't, to be honest with you.
He and Millie were always described as the shop stewards, and they acted accordingly. They kept everybody in line and kept everybody focused. And Jordan in particular, as we got closer to winning the championship, was a very important part of that, and keeping expectations managed.
You'd win a game and you'd have that little bit of accomplishment of, okay, we've got 3 points, and Hendo would be like, right guys, that's it. next three. And they were like, at some stage, like, we're 25 points clear, Hendo, we're winning this title. And Henderson was like, no, next game.
Not even going to think about it, Dad. No point until you get it. And that's just the way he is.
Well, we played United, Tottenham and Wolves back to back. And I remember leading into it, so like near the turn of the year, we were miles ahead still. But like I remember Hendo would always give like checkpoints of like, get past Wolves, then you can get a little bit excited. And then obviously we beat all of them, the clean sheets and all of them. And he's like, nah, still got a lot to do. Because like when I say like he won't like at all talk about winning it or lifting it or anything like that, he like bans it. He almost bans himself from like thinking about it. It's crazy. But I think it's because of like the heartbreak he's had in the past, in like the 13-14 season and then the season before, of like coming so close to it but not being able to win it. So I think he's just like doesn't like to get his hopes up.
He had faced just so many disappointments that you can't take anything for granted, really.
Like Robbo, he'll start speaking from October and he'll just be like, yeah, we're going to win it. And like, it does Hendo's head in, because like, you'll bring Hendo into it, be like, are you practicing your shuffle? Like he'll be saying things like that, so Hendo's head's gone. And he's just getting angrier. For instance, when we lose, like at Watford away, then Hendo gives it back to him. He's like, yeah, it's not in the right place. You think we won it too early and stuff like that. And Robert just takes it.
Thank God we had him in there to keep everyone calm and just get it to the finish line.
But it was kind of like we all knew we'd won it by like Feb. So it was kind of like, come on, stop messing him around. This is done now. And he's still there saying, no, we haven't done it. We're 18 points clear with like 10 games to go. Hendo, let us celebrate. He's like, no, we haven't won it.
Hello everyone, welcome to Redmen News. A very, very unprecedented Redmen News, to be perfectly honest. We now know that the Premier League and all elite football in the country has been suspended until at least the 3rd of April.
Different, and it's completely different. It's harder for him to still be a captain, really, because there's nothing to really lead. It's hard to keep getting your message through and telling people what you want them to do, what you need them to do throughout a global pandemic, really.
I think it's been strange to cope in life with what's gone on. I caught the virus earlier on. I caught the virus in April, when we went into lockdown in the March, and I was pretty ill. I was in bed for about 3 weeks and very close to ringing an ambulance at one stage, but Jordan actually got some equipment shipped up. He knows how bad it can get.
We'd always have our like reminiscing moments in terms of, like, we'd have a big group chat and we'd always like have like reminisce, like just to keep us excited about winning the league, if you know what I mean. So like we'd all throw like our favourite picks in from like Madrid and stuff and the celebrations, just to like keep that hunger and appetite going. And just like how much more we wanted them kind of moments. He'd always be one of them that would put in like, he'd never put in the one that where he's lifting the trophy or anything like that. It'd always be him hugging someone and like just sharing a moment like that with someone.
So Liverpool are 25 points clear at the top of the Premier League. Tantalisingly close to it just being mathematically done when the shutdown happens. And then we enter into a world of uncertainty, not just, globally, pandemic, off the field in our daily lives, but particularly with the football. You had thought pieces coming out every other day from people saying how football should be ended. They should null and void the campaign, start again from scratch when it's safe to do so. it was a very, very difficult time to be, you know, a Liverpool fan, but also a Liverpool player, that not knowing whether what had been, you know, the best Liverpool Premier League performance of all time was going to end in an unforeseen, unpredictable, ridiculous heartbreak.
I think when it first happened, and I think it took the world by storm, and it sort of blew your mind as to what was going to happen. I think he thought that it could occur, and what a travesty it would have been.
Well, I was just getting abuse from all my mates saying, oh, close, but it's not going to happen again. To be honest, I'm a positive person, so I believe that it was still going to go ahead, and there was no way that we weren't winning it that season. So the positivity helped, but it was a bit nervy, wasn't it?
I'm not sure it was truly realistic. Was it talked about? You bet. But I think ultimately in the 20 Premier League meetings I probably attended via Microsoft Teams, that we were trying to figure out Project Restart, how to get football back. We believed it was important. Obviously, the financial implications were huge. We at Liverpool wanted to make sure we could finish the season. And I think we all agreed, the positive impact on the morale of the country of having football back on the television, albeit without fans, was something we felt very important. And we were getting good support from the government, Oliver Dowden, DCMS, to be able to do this.
There's not a chance the FA could have done that. They couldn't have done what every Man United fan wanted them to do. That was not allow Liverpool to lift the trophy. After a while, I think he just knew he was going to lift it at some stage.
It was too far at that point, really. I mean, once we went into lockdown, it was done, in my opinion. Like, there was no way we were ever going to lose, and I think he knew that himself, so there was less of an effort from him to keep a lid on it. It was going to be a waste of his time and energy telling people that we aren't going to win one game out of 9. When you say that this season, it's probably a different way of looking at it, but last season you say that to us and we laugh in your face.
So we won our game, obviously, and every next day could be a decisive day. And so I really wanted it. It's so strange, and you don't know. Nobody plans a trophy celebration without anybody around. You don't know it. We are a bit superstitious, so you don't say 4 weeks beforehand and we will do this and that and that. It's always kind of spontaneous, which is completely fine. So I decided that day, okay, tomorrow we go to Formby Hall. We book all the rooms again, which we had anyway most of the time, because of when we played the games, we had to go there as well.
The senior players, so Hendo and Millie, maybe Bird and that got involved.
The senior players committee really pulled that off together. He wanted everyone to be together. There was no way. He didn't want people to watch it at their homes and FaceTime each other. It was a big thing of, all the players, all the staff from Melwood, everyone needed to get tested twice. It was a lot of schlep arranging and organizing, but it was so important that they did that.
Watched the first game. I forgot what was the first game, but it was the other game before that night, and then watched the Chelsea-Man City game.
The way we looked at it was, if Chelsea win, then we've got a celebration on our hands, really. And if City win, I mean, we've still only got to win one more game, and we get to play them next, so it'll be nice to go and win it at the Etihad. It was like, we haven't seen each other in months. We haven't seen each other in a long time, so it's kind of like team bonding. If that happens, we'll all just get together, have a barbecue, have a few drinks and that, and just watch the game as a team. And then, so it was kind of a win-win for us. We wasn't really bothered obviously we were bothered, but we weren't really overly bothered, because we ain't going to sit there and be gutted like we were when Leicester got beat by them. So it was still in our hands, and that was the power we had.
It was clear now, with the win the day before, it was clear we will be champion. So even I knew then it will happen, but we wanted it to happen now, in this moment, and that was great. So it was really nail-biting and stuff like this, and the goal and penalty, no, goal, and a penalty, red card, and all these kind of things was involved. Absolutely outstanding night. We made absolutely the best of it. It's a night I will never forget in my life, which I'm 53, I had a few nights, so it means, and I forgot most of them, so that means something.
Andy Robertson was complaining about it. We spoke to him the day after Liverpool, you know, the title secured, Liverpool have celebrated and stuff. Andy Robertson still hung over, and he was like, you know, it was so lovely to finally celebrate it because Hendo would not give us a second.
I mean, I spoke to him on the night time, you know, when they were in Formby Hall, and I had the feeling that they were going to get beat. And what a great feeling. Again, very emotional night for me. Again, the Premier League, 30 year, just won the Champions League, won the Super Cup, won the Club World Cup. Outstanding.
He's not a big drinker, so I think he would have just been on, I don't know, Diet Cokes or something. Him a million Diet Cokes, just embracing the moments.
Jordan is the one that he doesn't drink anything, so I couldn't believe how much he used to enjoy parties without drinking. So that's I said to him, I don't know how you do that.
I never knew he never drank. Has he got time yet?
There are so many things to be sad about because, you know, Liverpool win the title after 30 years and they don't get to do it in front of fans and they don't get the parade and all of that. But they will always have that day when they watched it together and they felt all the emotions together and they got to celebrate together.
It was a great, great moment. And I don't want to wait 30 years to the next one. A wee bit sooner than that would be helpful. But the next one will be equally as enjoyable.
That period of 2 years under Jurgen Klopp, led by Jordan, was a real historic couple of years for the club, and that'll be remembered for an awful long time. And I had to hold the tears back at certain points because I'm a fan, and you get to a stage where you don't move on from your career, you always remember it, but you look in from afar very different, and you're just hoping that he can go and add to the wonderful success to the club. So fair play to him and all the other boys for delivering them 2 trophies.
So the league title's done. The Red Carlsberg have been drunk, and it's just a procession now to get to that last game against Chelsea to see Jordan Henderson lift the title. But of course there's a doubt on that. He picks up an injury against Brighton, and it's in the back of everyone's mind. You know, is the captain going to be robbed of his chance to be central to this moment? Mercifully, he was able to strap himself up and go again.
I think you'd have had to chop Jordan's leg off for him not to lift that trophy. I mean, there was no way he wasn't lifting that trophy, and deservedly so.
I think at the time, you're kind of thinking, oh, I hope it's not kind of like that John Terry moment, you know, when he's just whacked the kit on. But it was completely different because it wasn't just like a one-off game. That Champions League final, then it is kind of maybe a John Terry moment where you're in a suit and then you go and put your kit on. But so much, he'd been our player of the year. He was our player of the year, so he earned it. There was no way anyone else wanted to lift it.
The only slight concern was whether he could do the shuffle, but no, in terms of lifting that trophy, I don't think anyone was going to possibly deny him that moment.
It's just a crazy, crazy situation. You know, I think when every Liverpool fan, players, everyone associated with Liverpool dreamt of what it would look like when the title drought was finally ended. they didn't imagine there wouldn't be Liverpool fans in the stadium. So it's on the club, then club and the broadcasters to some extent, to go and make it the most special thing it can possibly be. 30 years, one of the most famous football clubs on the planet, the biggest football club in England. You've got to have it be a special moment. It's a sporting moment, not just for football, but for the world. There were a lot of people who pulled out all the stops to make it the most special moment it possibly could be.
Sky Sports was great. Working with us, the Premier League was great, and working with us, we needed a made-for-TV moment, basically. And so our stadium operations teams were working. There was an event group that represented the Premier League and worked closely because we needed, fireworks, and there was flames and all of that stuff. We built the stage on the Kop to accommodate. We were asked to nominate somebody. I called Kenny and said, Kenny, will you present the trophy? And Kenny was absolutely delighted and honoured to do so.
Somebody just said, do you want to come back, do the presentation? I said, yeah, I'll come back. And then he took us through a run-through on the day before. I had to be back the day before to do a walkthrough. I said, what? I said, I'm going to watch the game. I'm going to go down there with the guy, walk up the steps. I can walk up steps, give him the trophy. I said, I don't need a walkthrough for that, surely. Jesus.
The great thing about it was Kenny was giving him the cup. What a great story, and I think Jordan was pleased to pick it up off Kenny.
For me to present it to Jordan was a huge honour for me. To give a special trophy to a special guy at a special football club, it doesn't get much better, does it?
I woke up that morning and was told that we could not have families in there, despite some reassurances that from various groups, DCMS, the Premier League themselves. And I spent that entire day working with the UK government, with the Premier League, to get our safety certificate for the stadium.
I didn't go to the ground. I stayed here because they were unsure.
Because I remember there was loads going on about the friends and family. Like the amount of times that decision changed was like headaches all day. There was like so many people involved, and like once one person said yeah, it go to the next level of the council and the government and that, and it keep, and like there was a point at like 3 o'clock that day when someone said no, and like it was called off.
We needed to get support from DCMS, the UK government, and I got the call probably at about 4 o'clock that we were good to go. The safety certificate would be signed, and the fans, that the families that came could be sequestered in a COVID-safe area to the right, if you recall, parallel with the Kop and the new main stand. But that was my day. That was absolutely my day that day, and a day in which I had hoped to be just, if you will, luxuriating in the glory of we're about to lift the trophy tonight was dozens of phone calls, panicked phone calls to various stakeholders, all of whom in the end came through for us and allowed the families in there.
Like with all the fireworks and the show and the display and the cup and stuff that we were able to do, I mean, without your friends and family there, it wouldn't have been anywhere near as good. But to be able to know that they're watching it, even though the fans aren't there, and it was 30 years of waiting and dreaming of what that moment would be like at Anfield, it was still special for us.
For Jordan, as much as anyone, his family have been, there every step of the way, and when they've lived the highs and been with you through all the lows, you want to share those, really, really magical moments with those closest to you, and thankfully he was able to do it that night.
All he wanted was get a hold of the trophy and get on with the unchoreographed dance that he did, and then get celebrating with the boys, and rightly so.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 2019-20 Premier League champions
It was brilliant the way he did it. The presentation that the club put on, or whoever put it on, was brilliant.
What a moment, and I think credit to the club and the Premier League as well, because it wasn't easy with no fans in the ground and how you're going to lift it and what you're going to do, and what they actually did to make it different and putting it in the Kop and that, I thought was great.
It was one of those strange, surreal moments. I posted a picture of me, Kenny and Rushy with a glass of champagne in our hand, and there's nobody anywhere near us other than the families over in the corner that were watching this magnificent, like, made-for-TV moment. But it was so sad and so poignant that the fans weren't there to enjoy it after 30 years of so close and yet so far.
That team go through so much, all the staff go through so much, but you never get that moment. It's heartbreaking for you that, you know, I'm watching you receive the trophy at Anfield, and that moment you've all waited for so long, you weren't able to share. You know, there's an injustice about that.
You wanted not just the Kop, the whole ground bouncing, don't you? But as I said, I think we made basically the best of what we could do, really. And when you actually see the pictures now, it still looks the part.
And I don't think it takes away anything of the achievement, the fact that there was no crowds at the presentation and a wee bit of problem with the COVID kicking off and that. I think they still deserved it. They won it thoroughly. They were brilliant. Right, the facts speaks for themselves.
I do wish that they'd have been able to clinch it in March when that would have really hit home just how dominant Liverpool have been. Because I think that gets forgotten a little bit. Now that Liverpool was so far ahead, they could have, in theory, gone and clinched it at Goodison Park in the middle of March, couldn't they? I mean, if that had happened, that would have been quite a way to end the story, I think.
The only sadness we still lingers here, we haven't had the opportunity, the platform, the chance to celebrate properly with the fans, and that'll come. But it was bittersweet that night, that's for sure.
It was an absolute honour to be able to say I was there that night to watch him lift it and to see that smile on his face, because I think when you know the struggles he's been through, when you know the periods of adversity, when he's had people write him off, when he's had people question whether he was even good enough to be a Liverpool footballer, the times when Liverpool brought in other midfielders and people again said, well, that's the end of Henderson, yet every single time he's like made his critics swallow their words. And then to see him lift the Premier League trophy a year after lifting the Champions League was incredibly sweet.
He's never ever doubted the fact that he's going to win it. He knew he was. As the kid driving in the car when he's 9-year-old at a tournament, knowing he's going to be a professional footballer in his mind from that day, that he was always going to win the Premier League in his mind.
And for me, I probably enjoyed the European Cup win and the league title more than what I did when I was really involved. It gives so much pleasure to people that have been so loyal coming along and the expectations there. But when you're actually delivered and you get that, it's brilliant.
I was just delighted for him. Whenever, Jamie or any of the pundits talk about what a great season he's had, he always tries to deflect the conversation away from him and how successful he's been and talk about how successful the team is. I think that's just him.
I think you've got to take some satisfaction from that and the journey that I've been on and how hard I've worked, and I'm sure my family are over the moon with that. But for me, it's all about the team awards. The individual awards for me don't really mean as much. That's why I feel as though it wasn't really an award for me. It was for the team and what we've achieved over the past year. And without them, I wouldn't have been given the award. So you could have went through the Liverpool squad and you could have picked anyone that could have won the award. So I'm so grateful and honoured to be a part of this team, and to receive it on behalf of them was really special.
I think individual honours it's a compliment to yourself, but also it's a compliment to the rest of the team that you play for or the club you work for. So for Jordan, being a representative of a football club, you couldn't get a better person.
I think he enjoys it. You cannot not enjoy a moment like that, but he doesn't make a big deal of it as much as some people have done in the past. But secretly, I think when maybe he's 40 and he's got his kids a bit older, He'll pull out the photograph or the trophy and there you go, your dad did that.
The mural was something that was very sort of special to us, to be the guy to lift that Premier League title. It was the one we wanted. There was just something so beautiful about that moment. There wasn't really anyone else at all who was ever in consideration. It was something we wanted to do. We wanted to mark that moment both for us and for Liverpool, and Jordan was just the perfect fit. I was very, very nervous about Jordan's reaction because it's obviously opposite Tor's Trent mural.
He like bantered me by saying, "Oh, yours is washed off." Yeah, he'll give it that one like, "Oh, look, yours is washed off," and then like just laugh about it. But like normally, well, every game that we go past, like when we see them, we'll like give each other a look and then just laugh. Because like Robbo sits next to us and like we'll look and be like, "Where's yours then?"
And you just think like, oh God, like what if it's terrible? And look, the guys who do it, Mayorwalls, are amazing. So it was never gonna be, but you can't help. These are the fears that keep you up at night. Like, what if he hates it? And he's literally got to drive past it every single time he goes to play at Anfield. So when he walked over and he turned the corner and he saw it for the first time and I just saw his face light up, I was like, oh. Like, first of all, amazing, but also like a real deep, like massive sigh of relief that we hadn't done something really, really bad. We'd actually done something pretty good.
It's a bit overwhelming, to be honest. Yeah, it's just amazing. So I can't thank you enough, really. It means a lot to me and my family. Yeah, can't believe it.
Just one question on the mural, why all the hype?
Obviously, it means a lot to me, you know. We'll go there every year at Christmas to see the kids and to see how much it makes a difference to us going there and just to put a smile on the face. Means a lot to me, you know.
Winning the trophies would be fantastic for everybody. But then after they won it, they were back to square one to try and repeat it.
This season, it's probably been the toughest if you'd ask any Premier League player. It's weird, right? They've never experienced anything like this before, ever.
It's been, massively challenging for him as it has been for all of the other players this season.
I don't think anybody can adapt to playing without fans. I mean, what a massive change. I don't think the results this season would have been anywhere near what they would have been with the crowds in. You know, the smaller teams, lesser teams who are fighting for relegation, coming and taking 3 points, I don't think that would have happened. But again, it's down to various things. But I think the crowd have got a big decision on results. That's proven itself, hasn't it? In any ground, not just Anfield.
It was not perfect, not having a proper preseason, playing then the season on a different position, in a pandemic, without crowd. All this is absolutely... I don't think we had a lot of perfect stories in our squad this year, with all the things. And constantly when something happens, it's always like, oh, yeah, right, that was the only thing that didn't happen yet.
I know, just how hard he's worked to try and negate that in terms of trying to ensure that spirits don't drop and that, chins don't hit the floor and, rallying people and, and again, at a time when there's no supporters inside stadiums, players aren't getting that natural lift they would get usually from feeling that support. So having people like Jordan Henderson around has been absolutely massive.
Having been privileged to see the behind closed doors games before I left, the last few games leading to the championship, I just listened to Jordan Henderson's soundtrack, which never, ever, ever stops on the pitch. Good ball, Robbo. Follow it up. Get in there, Trent. I mean, and with that, Macam accent, I don't know where he gets the energy from because he's got an engine on him as well, but he also does a play-by-play commentary on the game as it's going on, which was superb.
I think Jordan, thank God he's there still, because I think without him we would have been a lot worse off.
To lose all three senior recognised centre halves is it's demoralising. Demoralising for supporters, and of course it has a huge impact on the dressing room.
As we've seen now, Liverpool forced into a centre back crisis. Play centre back, play right back when you need him to.
Getting thrown in centre half for months wouldn't have been easy, but he done an amazing job. He's still being able to be the leader he is and lead us. So he's done unbelievably well in that respect.
And he hated with passion the centre-half thing. He hated the centre-half thing as much as Millie hated the left-back thing. So it seems to be an English thing that you have one position or an area where you see yourself, and if somebody comes and asks you to play with somewhere else, then it's, I do it, but I hate it. And he hated it really.
He'll admit it himself, he's not great in the air. Not prolific like Virgil or some of the other lads, but he's done a great job.
And even now, you know, the joke at centre-back that he's going to be stuck at centre-back for the rest of his career now. That's a joke. That's not particularly a joke, because if Liverpool did need a long-term centre-back for whatever reason, it would end up being Henderson if they didn't go into the transfer market.
I think Millie said it, and then the gaffer said it in an interview. It's like, Millie's just said to Hendo, you need to be careful not to be too good. And then, like, we were all laughing about it on coaching, and you see Hendo's head going. It's like he doesn't want to play there at all.
Hendo, when he's injured, nobody likes being injured, but I think he's really shit then. So in a really average mood. So Hendo playing not the position he wants to play, he's just doing it, training, all fine, but he's, I asked him, how is the family doing and how are you at home? So I told him I call Bex and tell her she has to call me when he comes home in a bad mood, just because I play him a centre-half without having any other choice. So because I find things like this funny. So I'm a very determined guy, and really, but I don't carry things home. So I drive 16, 17 minutes. That's enough for worrying about the things around. So we have a lot of conversations. So, and he know if I see something is not right with him, I tell him. On a personal level. What helped him a lot as well was, and we have to mention him, is James Milner, who obviously is a natural captain himself, and having a strong person like him next to him is very helpful. I know that from myself when I was a captain at mine, so something like this helps.
Alisson. He gets it! He gets it! Alisson's done it! There is a dramatic twist to the tale.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the player ratings. It's Liverpool 2, Crystal Palace 0. After all that, we finished third in the Premier League.
It was not the best year, but it's a year or a season, and a season you have to is never useless. So he will learn a lot, he will learn a lot. The plan is to use these informations to make us even better, and that's for him the same.
Hopefully, when the fans are back, there's only one way we can go, and it's up. So hopefully, they'll appreciate the fans a lot more. They'll play for the fans a lot more, and it'll shape them to go on and kick on for next season, and hopefully we can celebrate properly still from that win.
Hi everyone, we'd love you to join our team NHS Charities Together in 5k May. Simply complete 5k, donate £5 and nominate 5 mates to do the same on social media. Join our team and together let's support our NHS heroes, raise some money and get active.
He's helped so many people through the COVID and everything, and he's done so much for people less fortunate than himself, and doesn't he look for the spotlight on that?
Obviously with the country, the world in the midst of the pandemic, there was a lot of political manoeuvring at the time from a number of key figures in the British government, trying to put pressure on footballers in particular that they should be stepping up to the plate. They should be taking pay reductions and donating money and helping to keep the NHS going and what have you. What the players did, and with Jordan Henderson at the forefront, was start the players together. He gathered the Premier League club captains, and they decided that the best thing that they could do was, rather than take a wage reduction or do stuff through the clubs, was them to get together and create a fund themselves that they had control over. And it's another perfect example, Jordan Henderson being at the forefront of something, taking other people's considerations into account when, let's be honest, we could argue the case that there are people, whose it's literally their jobs to sort these things out. It's not on footballers. Footballers are there to play football, they're there to be entertainers, they're there to do that particular job. the fact that they found time and the fact that they did it with Jordan Henderson at the forefront, I think it's a real special moment, and it speaks to the character of himself and the other Premier League captains.
All the stuff he's done with the NHS, that just says so much about his character.
We've seen what he did last summer in terms of getting all the captains together, and he's always thinking about other people.
I said, have you got any members of your family who, have had COVID or whatever? And he started talking very powerfully about his cousin who works frontline NHS up in Sunderland. One of her jobs was you can't really call it a job. One of her duties, responsibilities in a way, was to have to hold up the iPhone to a dying relative so that they could say goodbye to their family. And so Jordan is a man with a good moral compass. His parents have instilled that in him. He's got that himself, and I think he represents Liverpool in completely the right way.
And I think it also tells you the esteem he's held with across the league, because all the other captains and stuff turn to him and negotiate with him to make things happen.
He represented not only the club, but as we've seen more recently, the heartbeat of the Premier League captains, and everything from when we went into lockdown, supporting the NHS with Players Together, all of that stuff.
There are people who are good people, and there are people who are good people to the point whereby they'll help somebody even if they don't have the same issues. I think he's really empathetic with so many different issues, like even in terms of supporting the NHS and things like that, and trying to help just in general during the pandemic.
There's a lot of instances, the Players Together, for example, Black Lives Matter. There's been a lot of big things that have happened where he's been a driving force and a focal point, and oftentimes without people knowing that it's been him as well.
The Black Lives Matter stuff, it's massive, and it's been a looming spectre over the game for as long as I've been a football fan. And this was the summer, this was the year where players decided to take a stand by taking the knee. This was more than a gesture, and Jordan Henderson's behind the notion of getting the Black Lives Matters patches on the shirt. These are not things that will solve problems, but you've got to start by raising awareness. You've got to start by putting things at the forefront. You've got to make sure it doesn't get lost in the shuffle. So to have that be present and prevalent throughout an entire Premier League season, I just think it's brilliant.
Obviously, the last year or so has been, memorable for so many different reasons. Most not very good, but in that time there've been real positive stories, and one of them was when I was in the United States and I got a call from Jordan, and he wanted to talk about everything that just happened. And he wanted to talk about what can happen in the future and about using his platform and his status and whatever to try and help people with their stories, which he'd never heard before or never realized before. Like he called me and he was asking me about my experiences and stuff like this. So I think for him in that time to be reaching out, and he almost became like the captain of the captains of the Premier League. He was by far one of the most outspoken, one of the most supportive. And he didn't need to be. This is Jordan Henderson, captain of Liverpool. Like, he can just stay quiet and do whatever he needs to do. But the fact is he chose not to, because he knows that in this moment, the things which have gone on in the past, which he's not happy about, and millions of other people aren't happy about as well. But he does appreciate the fact he has a platform. And as a consequence, he wants to gain as much knowledge as possible to be able to try and make as big a difference as possible for absolutely everybody, because, he, like many others, believes in equality.
He's in a position now where people listen to what he says.
That outreach there is as big as you could ever possibly hope for and wish for. And, when this is one of the reasons why I think we're good friends. His personality fits in to make as much change as possible for as many people as possible.
Yeah, he's become a really great spokesman for Liverpool as well. I think over the years he's become a lot more confident in terms of speaking about issues that aren't always easy to talk about.
But that's who Jordan is. And to get the respect of other Premier League captains, to be able to mobilize them and to be able to have the comfort to voice his own opinion about what he feels and what the Premier League captains feel about any situation, whether it was Project Restart, whether it was, obviously the Super League situation of the last few weeks, that just shows a true leader has the confidence to step into the firing line and if necessary, take the bullets accordingly. And Jordan certainly has that, both the confidence to do so and the respect not only of his teammates at Liverpool, but the other 19 football clubs in the Premier League.
And as a person and somebody who's trying to look after people less fortunate than himself, he deserves the Liver Building for that. What he's done for people to raise money for charity, to support different groups and get the boys together all as one to help people out, and it's been fantastic.
He doesn't ring me up and say he's going to do these things. Sometimes I see them on the TV before he discusses it with me. He's a big lad now. He's 30, so...
Henderson does nothing for attention or, wanting to be painted in a good light. He does a lot that never gets reported about, charity-wise.
For me, if anyone wants to know what Jordan Henderson's like as a person, just look at the things that he's fighting for and ask yourself if it benefits him in any way. But then ask yourself, well, why is he putting so much effort into it? It's because it matters to him.
I mean, Jordan Henderson, MBE, we talk about it from a sporting perspective and his rise and coming from, where he's come from, this shy, skinny kid from Sunderland who came to a massive global institution and fought and battled tooth and nail to get himself into the Liverpool side, to make himself an integral part of the Liverpool side, to make himself captain of the Liverpool side, and all the work that he does off the pitch as well. The MBE is one of those awards that is awarded to people who go above and beyond. And yeah, it's another wonderful fitting tribute to a man who's not just brilliant at football, but he's a brilliant human being as well.
He's had a great career. He's still having a great career, and he's still got a great few years in front of him.
But what I've said to him is, don't forget, Jordan, though, once you've done it once, you need to go and do it again. That's really what makes great players great, because they have a striving and a desire to succeed.
There's no reason that he can't continue to have a lot of success with Liverpool and with England. And
I hope he's got a great career ahead of him in football, whatever he wants to do. I hope, knowing Jordan, he'll think he's got a year he needs to make up this year, and he's going to extend his career accordingly.
But I think he'll be desperate to win the league again, absolutely desperate. Just to have that experience of being able to say what it's like to win the league in front of a packed Anfield and see the reaction of the crowd. I think he'd be absolutely desperate to achieve that.
Jordan Henderson is the type of person that you desperately want to keep involved at Liverpool Football Club for as long as you possibly can, because he's just got a very, very impressive way of helping cajole and bring out the best in everyone that he works with.
I just want to enjoy watching him captain Liverpool and play for Liverpool as long as possible.
What's after that? Because as a professional sportsman, you're going to have a second career. That's a fact of life. So anything is possible, frankly.
I would be surprised if he doesn't remain in football after his playing career is over, because he loves it so much.
Without a doubt, he could make a good coach or manager. He's got a good understanding tactically of the game.
I've spoken to him about becoming a manager, and he always says he's got to learn how not to take defeat too personally, which is one of the things he's trying to absorb from Klopp.
He's one of those guys you say, could he be a manager? Absolutely. Does he want to be a manager? I don't know. But he has got all of the attributes to be a great leader off the pitch as well.
To be honest, he never discusses past his playing career. In fact, he never discusses past like that week or that month. It's a game next week, and I'm not quite sure he's made his mind up as to what part of football and the career would involve, but I'm sure it'll involve football. Do you know, I was just talking to somebody earlier on about doing the interviews, and they said to me, do you know, you must be really proud of what he's achieved. And it's hard to put into words, because I don't see it other than every day he does what he loves to do. So of course I'm proud of what he's achieved, but I'm probably more proud of the way he's turned out, really. His mindset from being younger and what he wanted to be and what he's achieved, it's exactly what he set out to when he was 6, 7, 8 year old.
His parents should feel totally proud and vindicated in the way he's turned out. And as a footballer, he's not got any questions to be answered.
Jordan Henderson is the living, breathing heartbeat of the greatest Liverpool team in the Premier League era.
As a captain, he's got a lead role in there to get everybody together, and he's done that.
At a club where to actually be remembered as one of the greats, the bar is unbelievably high. He's going to be in that list, and he's managed to make a mark in history there.
I think Jordan is has served his time brilliantly. And although he might say he's been truly happy working at Liverpool, it's Liverpool that should be grateful for somebody coming in and doing the work he's done, both on and off the pitch.
My captain.
Always a pleasure to be around. Great player, even better captain, even better human being. Those are the things that I'll take away.
We're blessed to have Jordan, not just as a player, like I said, but as a person at our club, leading our club. Just an absolute superstar, gentleman.
If you're a parent of a daughter, you'd love your daughter to marry that man.
Incredible person, selfless, great company, good to be around.
He'll try and bring as much goodness to your life as possible, even when he doesn't need to. And yeah, he was an absolute pleasure to play with, but the bigger pleasure is having him as a mate, because it's the type of person you can trust to the very, very end. He'd give you his last penny if he needed to.
He's always thinking about other people, and that's why he's been a magnificent captain for your football club.
I'd say it's just an absolutely fantastic story of just perseverance and resilience and triumphing in the face of adversity more than anything else.
A story of evolution and growth.
Even in the most difficult moments that he had with the shirt, with injuries, always positive, always behind the team.
It's been a tough watch at times to see all the criticism he received and stuff.
When you answer them as emphatically as Jordan Henderson has, I think that makes the glory that you experience all the sweeter.
Someone who's gone from strength to strength and has worked as hard as anyone I've ever seen to be the full package. He's now a wonderful man and a wonderful player, and he deserves all the plaudits he gets.
Jordan Henderson has showed people that if you genuinely persevere and put everything you have into being a success, and you do it with good intentions, and you do it while helping uplift those around you, it can be a tale of triumph.
Hey, what's happening? Listen, if you enjoyed Hendo 10 Years of Red, then do come and check out Bobby Firmino, Best in the World, our brand new, incredible 3-part documentary series. Episode 1 is streaming for free on our main YouTube channel on the 23rd of June. All 3 episodes will be then exclusive with the full interviews of our incredible contributors on redmenplus.com over the summer. If you want a little sneak peek, take a look at this.
Can you describe Bobby Firmino in one word?
Incredible.